Thank you so much, Jordan, for chatting with me here today.
You're
Where are you
welcome.
located?
Right now, I'm located in Belgium right now.
Belgium. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've been to Ghent a
Again,
few
yeah.
years ago. It's
Great little
beautiful.
city. Yeah,
Yeah.
great city to be. But I'm like, was it like a half an hour out to Ghent? Yeah,
Okay.
right there.
Uh,
Yeah.
awesome. Awesome. I want to go back. So let's just dive right into it. How did you first get into film composing, Jordan?
It was a friend of mine who actually she studied cinematography here in Belgium in Brussels, and she always like she knew I was playing in bands, and she was like, "Look, I'm doing my bachelor like degree film. Would you be interested in scoring my picture?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not? I'm my band sucks anyway, and why not?" And I did it, and I got a taste for it, and ever since I haven't stopped composing for film ever since. Yeah, it was a little success in its own right. People liked the film, and they liked the little soundtrack I wrote, and ever since I've been writing music for like I think 2 years now. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And what are your like primary instruments?
I mainly use this like a small setup of synthesizers. I do. Yeah.
Mm.
It's mainly a hybrid score that I do because there's not much budget when it comes to scoring for orchestra and that kind of stuff. When it comes to indie productions, so I tend to have a small budget for like small like just like a string ensemble, for example, or like a small choir. But then everything else I fill it with piano and like drums and my band like background, of playing guitar, bass, drums, synthesizers, that kind of stuff. Because the out of necessity, like my style came out of necessity, to be honest.
Awesome. Do you have any favorite film scores or or composers, musicians that influence how you're composing music today?
Do you have a week? Yeah, so many. I think if I have to narrow it down, first of all, Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross are really big, really high on my list. Then followed by Johan Johansson, who passed away, sadly enough. Johnny Greenwood has been on my list ever since he did There Will Be Blood. Remember, yeah, I love that one.
Mm.
And then recently I discovered that Nick Cave and Warren Ellis like write music for soundtracks, and I've been obsessed with their work ever since. Yeah, really nice like indie soundtracks. Really nice. You should check it out. It's really cool. Yeah, so those are I think my main influences.
Got it. So you've been composing now for a couple of years, you said?
Yeah, let's say one professionally and then 1 year of trying to, get my foot, in there. So yeah.
For sure, for sure. So with that said, what are your career goals as a composer? What are you looking to do in the future?
I think my main goal is like work together with like the production company A24. That's like my main goal. It's like I've loved every movie they produced the last couple of years. So that's I think my main goal to have like an A24 on my credit list. That would be like yeah. And then the ultimate goal, but that's very like unlikely, is to like work together with Quentin Tarantino. Would be like really cool to do once, but yeah, he's not. He only worked with a composer once. It was Ennio Morricone. So I think, yeah,
Yeah. No, that's a good goal to
yeah.
aspire to achieve. So I'm with you there. So you've been composing for a couple years now. What do you see as maybe your top challenges, your top 1 to 2 challenges as a composer, today at this point in your career?
I think finding like a constant money flow. I think like
Mm,
really like trying to live from it is a very difficult one, especially nowadays with the pandemic happening and how it happened. And it, because I started right before the pandemic happened. So it like difficult to get like a constant money flow. And so I think, yeah, the big one is trying to live from it right now. Yeah, it's like the main one. I think that's one a lot of composers have, but
right.
yeah.
Right. Definitely. Yeah, definitely hear you there. Curious, what have you done, if anything, to kind of solve for that? Like you are networking at film festivals. Is that
Yeah.
kind of your main way of getting opportunities?
Yeah. I do actually. Yeah. I've been networking a lot at film festivals lately, ever since the soundtrack I did, and it brings me like certain new projects. But most of the time, the projects, the new ones I have are like old connections I have from people. I did that student movie like a year ago. Now they graduated and they're doing their film feature first, so then they come to me. So it's like old connections. Those
Mhm.
are like the most projects I do. But there are the newer ones are yeah, like come from film festivals indeed. Yeah.
Got it. So old connections, newer ones at
Yeah.
film festivals. Is there anything else that you're doing to kind of drum up those opportunities?
I do sound design for fashion, for example. Yeah,
Oh,
I've been
okay.
doing that as well, doing fashion design for ads, music videos. Yeah, that's what I do, on the side. And I'm a music teacher as well, so to keep it going. And sometimes I meet interesting people who are in the field and go like, "Hey, I heard your stuff," or, "Can we do something together?" So yeah,
Got
I
it.
try to stay in the music business.
Right. That's interesting. I love to learn more about the sound design. How did you get into
Yeah.
that?
Film festival, actually.
Okay.
Really weirdly, a film festival. Katja Ganfeld was premiering her latest short film, Mirror Mirror, and I was like, "Oh, that's so cool. I want to work with you. You're like, your style is really different. I like it." She's like, "Yeah, I'm working on this new project for a fashion brand in London. Would you be interested in doing the sound design?" I was like, "Okay, cool. I'll do it." And then, gradually you get into that stuff, and now, yeah, it's actually really nice to write music and or slash like do the sound design, because it's very like hybrid in a way. It's very focused on sound design, but you can like have your elements of music coming in. And I think as a composer, I think from a composer's way of like when it comes to sound design, instead of like thinking like a sound designer, I think. So it's really interesting. I like it. It's a nice extra, for me, it's like a nice break from like the regular routine of composing, writing music, and now to the other film. But then now and then I can do like, okay, let's do some sound design. Yeah, it keeps me inspired in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of mixes it up.
Yeah.
I'm curious because, like, what is your
Yeah.
creative process for sound design as opposed to maybe what your creative process is for the compositions that you score for film?
When it comes to like for film, for example, I really go like thematic material that I like really try to find.
Mhm.
But when it comes to sound design, I really start looking around for like sounds. I will start rubbing everything, like hitting everything, like I need it. It's more texture, I need more texture and stuff. And I've noticed that it works both ways, that I took elements from the sound design into my new soundtracks, that I incorporate more texture in my sound in my new soundtracks, and it's less melody based and more like texture based more of. So yeah, so it works like both ways. It influences each other a lot. So but that I
Yeah,
think is the main difference that
I gotta imagine, yeah, that there's a lot of overlap with
yeah,
that and the textures, the color, the sort of
indeed.
colors and all of that
Yeah.
that come out of that. That's very cool. Curious to learn about you a little bit more as far as what do you think, in your opinion, makes you stand out from some of the other composers and musicians out there? I
Oh
know it's a
God.
tough question. you, you can
Yeah.
take a moment to think about
Yeah.
it if you need to, but I love to learn about musicians and composers and
Yeah.
understand
Yeah.
what makes maybe their sound or approach like
Yeah.
unique.
I think my love for synthesizers maybe and texture. I use a lot of textures and my stuff is very minimal. It's very like I said, Trent Reznor, Philip Glass inspired. So it's very minimal. It's very analog as well. I try to, although, I use digital instruments as well from time to time. I like to keep it analog as possible. And I think it's a really difficult question. If I say synthesize, it's not actually that true, because I mean Trent Reznor does his synthesizer stuff, and Hans Zimmer does the synthesizer stuff. It's not.
To me, what's interesting, what we were talking about before with the sound design element of it,
Yeah.
in my opinion, I feel like that's fairly unique. I haven't spoke with
Okay.
other musicians and composers who
Maybe.
kind of do both and sort of have an
No.
approach for both. So
Now you mention it, I think yeah, the sound design aspect of it, because when it comes, I've just finished a new film, and I was like, oh, I like my soundtrack, but it's missing something. And then all of a sudden, I got the new rough cut with sound design from the sound design. I was like, that's what's missing. My work needs that sound design. And Yeah, I like the marriage of like both worlds. I like to work with sound designers, like to know what they're doing before I start writing stuff.
Mhm.
And my standalone soundtracks, where I then release online, always have that element of texture to it. So yeah, I think the sound design element is a big one. Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
You might be right on that one. Yeah.
I just found that interesting. So, how many film compositions or pieces of music do you write in a given year?
Like, do you mean like project wise, or like single pieces of music, or
I would say, yeah, I guess projects. Essentially, what I'm getting at is paid opportunities or paid film
paid
scores.
opportunities? When it comes to film scores, I think right now, as of today, I've done 12 since
Okay,
January. Let's say I started officially since January this year, 2022. So I did 12 by now. Yeah.
that's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really don't know. Like, there's not a lot of composers that I know here that I can talk to. I don't know, is it a lot, or am I? So yeah, if you say so, I'll believe you.
That
Yeah,
seems like a lot to me. I mean, how do you
yeah.
go about balancing all of them in such a short time period?
I'm just a nutter when it comes to that kind of stuff. When a script inspires me, I go crazy. Sometimes friends call me like the method actor of composers, because I would go lock myself up in my studio, and where it's really dark, I'll live like a nomad somewhere to create. Yeah, I've done that for I think for a film called Burn the Time. It was about a lonely man, and I spent like an entire month writing 10 minutes of music, but like being like totally alone for like an entire month and living like, like an old man. But yeah, I think, yeah. So I think just my crazy obsession with everything. Yeah.
That that's interesting, and I want to unpack that a bit more. So for each piece of music that you write, or maybe each project that you're working on,
Yeah.
is it the same approach musically as far as like developing the idea and the melodies and things like that, or does it really depend on each project and I guess, yeah, what inspires you in the picture that you're seeing?
Yeah. It has like the same, because I always go from the idea like, what is the main sound, the main texture of like the main character, or like the main emotion. I like to find the instrument first before I write a melody. I want to like see like a sonic. I want to have like a sonic fingerprint of that certain like character before I write a melody that I go like, even if I just take the instrument out of the closet and play an F, for example, you will still know it's that character, even though it's not the main theme. So I try to do it that way first, and then I try to score like a main theme, be it the main like idea of the film, or like the main emotion, or the main character. And from there, I like to be like Wagner, like very like Wagnerian, that I go like, okay, I can take that little melody line, turn it into the love theme, turn that into like, chase, or so that kind of stuff. Everything is always connected to like the main theme in my work. Yeah. Well, at least I try to. Yeah.
No, it's interesting. Everybody's creative process is different. I mean, I'm a musician
Yeah.
too, and not a composer in the traditional sense, but I produce music, and I'm just like trying to learn from everybody else how they
That's
how
great. Yeah.
how they go about the creative process, because everyone is so different. So it's really interesting to
Yeah.
hear. Awesome. Well, a couple more questions for you,
Great.
Jordan. Do you have a favorite collaboration that you've done recently, like, or something that, yeah, that like, it was a fun project, it was a great collaboration? Curious to learn about that and maybe why
Yeah.
it was a great project to work on.
It will be my latest one with Catcher that I told you about, because it's really fun to work with. We're working right now on the ad for the fashion brand, but she's also working like with big brands like Nike, Burberry, that kind of stuff. And she was working with this new artist in the UK. She had a music video almost done. She was like, "Yeah, I want to have some 5 second sound design at the end. Would you like to do it for me? Like quick turnaround." It's like, fine. And we did it in like half a day, real quick. But working with her is so much fun, because she goes like, I trust you, go ahead. And it's such a breath of fresh air, because normally when I work with directors, they go like, they will scrutinize everything I do. They go like, nah, lower that bit, change that instrument, do this. And she will go like, do whatever you want to do, and then we go like we sit together and go like, okay, that one matches, that doesn't, and you know, it's really fun to work with. She trusts me. It's nice to have someone, you know, that trusts you from time to time.
Right. In your experience working with directors, it sounds like it's a little bit more like
I've worked with numerous like different directors that I've had a director who blatantly said straight to my face, like, I do not trust composers. Who literally said, like, you can change a scene, you know, just by a single note. And that's completely true. I understand that. But, you know, but still very fun to work with. And then I had, you know, directors who do not know what they want. And they were like, you know, I'll do this. And there's like certain movies I've written like 6 different soundtracks for, you know, in total, and they go, oh yeah, maybe I would like that sound instead. And so yeah, and then you have composers who completely trust you and go like, you know, go ahead, you're the professional, and you know, whatever you can cook up. So yeah.
Interesting. So in your experience, has the majority of maybe filmmakers and directors, are they not musically inclined, and so it's a lot of like shooting in the dark at first?
At first, it's a lot of shooting in the dark indeed, because they're musically inclined, but they have so many interesting ideas because they're outside the music perspective, and they go like, you know, oh, I would like that to be that crazy sound. You would go like, that's crazy, but that's a really good idea. You know, I would have thought of that, because out of like a music way of thinking, you go like, you know, that would sound, you know, you wouldn't think about it because you're trained a certain way, and you hear your soundtracks and go like, yeah, you wouldn't do that. But then they go like, oh yeah, I want to do this that way, and they go like, oh, that's actually really cool. So I've learned a lot more about coming up with unique pieces of music and soundtracks from directors than from any other composer, to be honest. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Like tactically speaking, did they send you like a scene or like the whole film and then say, this is kind of the crazy idea that I have with like maybe some reference tracks? Or what does like the workflow kind of traditionally look like in your experience?
The workflow I like and I ask for is send me the script. I don't want to see your film at first. I don't want to see it. I don't want to, because I'll be influenced by color, moods, everything else. Just for me, like a script is like reading a book. I can imagine everything myself. I can imagine the setting. I can imagine the characters. I can imagine everything going on, the color of the car, the color that they're wearing, you know, the outfit that they're wearing. And based on the script, I sit down with the director and go like, look, these are like the main scenes that I think need music. And then they go like, okay, I think this needs music. And I write the themes according to like, okay, it's scene 1, the character feels sad, you know, very basic, feels sad. Let's try to find like a theme that, you know, encompasses like sadness, that kind of stuff. And then when it's almost close to like the final cut, I look at it once and I like chuck all my music on it, like, you know, like I've written it, and see, does it stick or not? And if it sticks, I just then edit it towards like the scene, because sometimes a piece is too long, you know, a minute has to be like 30 seconds or, you know, dynamically. But everything, like every soundtrack I've written so far is always like fully completed before I ever see a film. Yeah.
Oh, I think interesting.
Work that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I thought like, oh, maybe that's like a new approach, but also like Philip Glass does the exact same thing. So it's not a new thing apparently, but yeah, it gives me that distance between the film and my music. It gives me the right that my music is like a standalone piece as well. You can listen to it on its own, because I think certain soundtracks, if the picture's not there, you know, it misses something. Certain soundtracks, yeah, and I think that gives that distance between my work and the director's work, and it fits nicely. So far, it has worked for me. So yeah.
That's really, really cool. And yeah, again, something that kind of goes to show you every collaboration is different, or like every composer's process is different. So very cool. Awesome. Last question here for you. Even though you're a couple years into, I guess, you know, the formal like film composing career, you've already done 12 projects, which is, I think, a lot in you know, 6 months time. What advice would you give to new composers starting out?
It's very blatant, but it's not about you. Even though the music is a big part of the film, it's not about you. And don't take it personal when a director says like, look, your piece of music it doesn't fit there. It doesn't mean that your piece of music is shit or you are shit. It just means that's not the right thing at that moment. Just just know that fact. It's not about you. Just you working, you building a story for somebody else, and so yeah. So I think my main advice I would give to new composers.
That's perfect.
I always got this funny story that my friends always laugh with when they ask me, when did you decide to like be a musician and write music? And I always tell them this literally not the coolest story ever. It's not cool at all. Like, believe me. Well, I think I was 6 years old and my parents took me to Disneyland in Paris, and they have the Hollywood studios there, and as a kid, it was nice to see like all these movie sets, that kind of stuff. But all of a sudden, we were having our lunch, and Kylie Minogue, "I Can't Get You Out of My Head" starts playing. And that song changed my life forever. I was like, I want to like write beats like that kind of stuff. That bass line is stuck in my head ever since. And that like Kylie Minogue, changed my
That's
what I
great.
meant with, yeah. It's not the coolest moment ever saying that Kylie Minogue changed my life, but yeah.
It's such an infectious song.
Yeah, it is. And it's, yeah, ever since I was like at 6 years old, I was like, I want to be like that. I want to do that.
Wow, that's awesome. No, I love it. I think it's great.
Thank you.
All right. Well, take care, Jordan. I appreciate your time, and
Bye.
we'll be in touch.
Okay, bye. Lovely.
All right. Take care.